Hello, good morning. This is Beth Ditman from the Wendy Slaughter Team, and she's with us today for our housing series, Spotlight on the Housing Market Trends. She has been with us a couple of times, so we're really excited to have her back again. And in addition to this, she and I are going to be recording a video on other housing information that we'll put on the website and we'll put in the forum, so we're very excited to have her. So
Thank you
I will
so
turn it over to you.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
And thank you guys for coming out here on this little rainy day that hopefully will turn into a spring day here today. And I'm sure you have lots of questions. I first of all want to thank the Mendelsons for coming again. I've had the opportunity to meet them at one of my other presentations. I've met you, Joy, before, so thank you for being here. And you know, the market is ever changing. I mean, what it was in December, what it is in January, and what it is today has changed a lot. So, you know, when it's your time, you'll definitely want to talk to myself or a realtor about what's happening at that moment in the market. But let's get started. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the Wendy Slaughter Team. We're really here to talk about you, not me. But just so you know, a little bit about our team. And then we're going to talk about what's going on in the market. And one of the biggest is it's never too early to get started. A lot of times people think, oh, well, I'll bring an agent in right before I'm ready to list the house. And you know, my house is a mess, and so on and so forth. It's never too early to get it ready and enjoy it, quite frankly, and then you'll be ready when the time is right for you, because there's a lot to do to get started. A little bit about me. I've been in this community for over 30 years as a resident. I am a SRES, which is a specialist working with older adults. It's another certification. And why I did that actually is because I was the caregiver of 4 parents and went through the process. They've all passed, and I have one more I'm doing right now with my stepmom. So, you know, once I realized what's involved and you know, all the phases of the process, I wanted to really be able to give back and work with this demographic. I have a lot of passion. I am on some boards. I'm on the board of Gilchrist. I'm also on the board of Blossoms of Hope. So all the beautiful trees that you see in our community are part of Blossoms of Hope. Our goal is to have as many trees as the tidal basin, and we're getting close to that. So we also raise money for breast cancer and many other things. So that's about me. The Wendy Slaughter Team, you know, we are right across the street from the mall, Columbia Mall. We are local. More than half of our business is right here in Howard County. We do cover the state of Maryland, and we're the top 1% team, which we're very proud of, and some of our stats compare to the overall market. What's important is 91% of our business comes from referral, and we are a team of 17, and we're really not spending time on leads, we're spending time on working on clients because we are so proud of our referral business. So, we sell homes faster, and why does that matter? When we compare from 2024 to 2009, this is the Howard County market, and we sell faster. We believe we call it the secret sauce, and you know, we really make sure that those houses are in pristine shape to be able to move that house very quickly. And why that matters is when you hit the market, all the agents, all buyers, everybody's kind of, it's a bell curve. They're all looking at, you listed your house, and that is the most activity that happens, and then it starts going this way naturally, and you want to sell that house right at the top because you're going to sell it at top dollar. The longer a house sits, the more that you're going to have questions about the condition of the home, or you're going to have questions on why the house is sitting, especially in this market. So your house price might drop at that point. So, you know, sometimes people say, well, I'll just price it high and see what happens. That's a very dangerous plan. So you want to price it based on what the comps are in the neighborhood the first time. So let's shift the focus to you guys right now and talk about what's happening in the real estate market. We can keep going. All right, mortgage rates. So years ago, when I bought a house, the mortgage rate was 11. Then in COVID, it went to 2 to 3. There's a lot of folks that don't want to sell their home right now because they have a 2 or 3% mortgage, which is one part of the housing market shortage challenge. Right now we're at about 6.5. It's very volatile of what's going to happen. It could drop. It depends on inflation, jobs, the Fed, and tariffs. And if you know what's going to happen, then you know more than me because it is a crystal ball of what's going to happen to our interest rates. There's probably a chance, based on what's happening, it'll drop some. If it's under 7, buyers right now are very anxious to get into the market. So right now, this is where we're hovering at. Activity in the market. So right now, since way back in 2023 to 2025, we had lots of activity of inventory, and it continues to climb listings. Typically in a normal market, there's a seller's market, there's a buyer's market, and a normal market, which is balanced. In a balanced market, we have about 3 months of inventory or more. We have less than a month. So that means in that month, all those houses are gone, and we have to start from scratch again. All right, a couple of myths versus facts. And you guys are welcome to interrupt, and this is a dialogue really, so if you have questions, please ask. I have too much stuff. That's always the first question. That's actually one of the biggest reasons people don't move, is they don't know where to begin. And you'll be surprised at how quickly that can be figured out. We have folks on our team that we work with many vendors that either can help you sell it, help you donate it, help you pack it up, help you give it to Goodwill. I have a seller right now, he's a widow, just sold his house yesterday. When I first walked in December, he was like, I don't even know where to begin. And he cannot believe where he's come to today. So it does happen, it's hard to visualize, but once you get started, it's like any other project, you can get it done.
So they come into your house?
Yes.
And they say, here's all this furniture, here's this is what I suggest?
Yes.
And of course you pay for that, right?
You do.
Okay.
Yes, you do.
Okay.
You do. And it's
Okay.
very synchronized on what's going where, who's selling what, because you might have a lot of treasures you don't realize. So vendors can come in and meet you and see if they're going to buy it or not. Okay. The market isn't good. It's not the right time to sell. Well, we already talked about it. The market is extremely strong. So in December, we had houses selling within the week. And then January, February, we had houses selling in a couple days with multiple offers, 5+ offers. Right now we're in a market where we're selling the house in 2 days with 10 to 15 or 20 offers. So that is tremendous. In fact, I just had a house yesterday that was in coming soon status, which means nobody can see the house other than the pictures. And yesterday I had a sight unseen offer 3, and we are under contract before we opened the house yesterday. So, yes.
I have a friend who is moving in June. It kind of came up rather quickly. She lives over on the lake, beautiful spot. They are sort of trying to figure out if they should have all the floors done, and of course they're painting, or because the market is so hot, should they just put it on the market and not put themselves through all that extra cost and energy exertion?
Yes, yes.
They're in their 60s.
Yes.
And,
That's a great question, and we get that often. When houses sell that quickly with multiple offers, it's because of the condition. So that, blend of, well, the houses sell quickly, perception, why do I need to do anything? The houses that sold at top dollar with multiple offers is because they did the work to get that house ready. Now, not everyone has to do that. So, you really just need to align your list price with the work that you put into it, okay? So if you want top dollar, you have to do the work involved. You don't have to do everything, it really depends. I mean, that floor might be perfectly fine the way it is. You really need, our professionals to come in to take a look at that, to make a decision, because there's other things we could do that would be less expensive and easier. So every house is unique and different in that way.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So the trend then isn't that people just want a house and they want to go in and put their own
No.
floor and paint their own colors
No.
and do their own.
No, you know
No.
why?
Okay.
Because houses are so expensive. So if you're a millennial today, we bought houses, or I bought houses, that were 200. Now they're 700. For a young couple today to buy a house with the interest rates where they are, they don't have any more money to put in the house. Okay, so the seller has a lot of appreciation that they're gonna get, because they sold it a long time ago, and they purchased a long time ago. So now is the time to put some money into this top investment of yours,
Okay.
because buyers are looking to be move-in ready. They really don't have more money, disposable money to spend.
Very good. Thank you.
I had also heard you said sometimes you sell in January.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for instance, my house right now in spring is beautiful with all the flowers.
Yeah,
So is it wise to take pictures now to give to the real estate
Yes.
person? Because in January it doesn't look.
yes, yes. I had over at Wild Lake, I had a house in Mending, and she was a gardener, and it was gorgeous. And she took pictures of everything, and we used those pictures. Try to get them, as high res as possible. On the internet, you don't need them as high res as a brochure. But it's great to take pictures because, if you decide you want to sell and it's in the snow, snow pictures are pretty, but it's nice to see what the gardens look like too, so that is advisable.
So I don't know if this is a dumb question or
Never.
not. Never. I imagine this is the truth, actually, that some people look for the outdoors, and they look for the property, and they look for the views, and they don't really care as much about the inside of the house. Whereas some people don't really care what's going on outside, they want the inside. I was one of the outdoor people, that's why I kind of get this. But you're saying, and I hear you, you're saying to make that house as top dollar as you can.
If you're looking for top dollar, then you need to,
Most people are, right?
Yeah, I would think so. It's usually your biggest asset. So put your best foot forward. Again, there are ways to have that house sparkle without doing all renovation. It's pretty typical today that houses paint and carpet, because those are one of the least expensive options to do. And we have discounts that we work with, like Vertical Connection and others, that allow us to help you out in that area. Yeah, but some buyers are, their outside's more important than the inside, and vice versa. The house I sold yesterday was a contemporary. It was a beautiful home on 3 acres, and the bathrooms were not updated. But because of the vibe and the beauty of this home and the acreage and where it sits, that was more important to these buyers. Yeah. My home needs too much work and I don't have money to make repairs. Well, the beauty of that is we have a couple of remodelers on our team, one in particular that you can pay at settlement. So all the work is done ahead of time, and then you would pay them at settlement the proceeds that are coming from your house. You would net minus how much you've invested in that. We have another remodeler that does it a little differently, so depending upon what you're looking for, both are licensed agents and really prepare the house for renovation and the sale.
I don't know where I heard this.
Yes.
But you said carpeting. Sometimes I heard they use the laminate wood,
Luxury vinyl plank.
Yes, that, right?
Mhm.
So sometimes they do that?
Most of the time.
Okay.
Most of the time, right now, what's attractive is the luxury vinyl, because it doesn't scratch or discolor, and it has a lifetime, and it is more affordable than the hardwood, and they keep coming out with newer. I have a client now that just in townhouse just put in luxury vinyl, and they've upgraded that they're actually thicker than the vinyl for almost the same price. And she wanted to do it right. It was her house, and she had pride and joy, and she's like, I want to do it right. Yeah. Okay. So right sizing for your lifestyle. So, I mean, the fact of the matter is that, you know, we were talking about this. We want to stay in our homes. We want to age in place. That's what the Villages is for, as long as possible. But there comes a point, we want to be with our grandkids, we want to travel, we don't want to fix that hot water heater, we don't want to deal with shoveling, and all that comes with that. We want to enjoy our years of life, and that's called right sizing. And that's really, you know, the word downsizing is, you know, kind of like, oh, you know, I don't want to downsize. You want to right size. You want to have a better quality of life. And you want to be able to, you know, go on tours and lectures and be amongst your peers and really enjoy what you have. So that's the right sizing lifestyle. It really is a challenge sometimes to really mentally get yourself ready for that. It's hard to say goodbye to your house that you've either raised your kids in or you've had your holidays in. But in the end, it is walls, and it is really about your quality of life. So now we're going to talk about decluttering, deferred maintenance, and all of that, and repair. So I think we talked about it a bit, but there are many ways to downsize and declutter and get that house ready. I'm sure you have probably 20 black shirts and 15 pairs of shoes. Do you really wear them? You know, or all the books that you have. We have places that want your books. So you just start the process and you start thinking about, in a given day, in a given week, I'm in the kitchen, I'm in the bedroom, in the living room, and all these other rooms, I really don't use them. So start there. So we really start helping you through that process. Our team has all the supports to help you get there. Deferred maintenance. So this is a given. You know, when we talk about should we do floors, maybe. Deferred maintenance is a yes. So if you have a broken window, broken screen, the cabinet's crooked, and you didn't care, of course, you lived with it, it didn't matter. It does now. Because a buyer is going through the house and they're seeing that this house is loved, it's been taken care of. And so from that standpoint, you really want to get in the mindset of the buyers that, wow, this is a well taken care of house. I may not even do an inspection because they feel confident. I have first-time buyers that were absolute going to do an inspection no matter what. And when we moved into, we're shifting into this market right now, there's few inspections, which makes buyers very nervous. Who would want to buy a house not doing an inspection? Well, if they have all their deferred maintenance taken care of, then they have more confidence in buying that house.
This is silly, but
Yeah.
what is it, the molding on the bottom? It's driving me crazy in my house. And I have nice colored painting, but you know the cracks
Yeah.
must be opening up. I guess we should get that
Yeah.
done. Yeah.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, I mean,
That's
it's, you know, the caulking on the tile and the, you know, it's little things. It's the handyman, handy woman lady comes in and does all those things that, you know, you ignore because why do you care? But, you know, now, you know, it's amazing what we see. I remember I went into a house that they took care of deferred maintenance. Everything was great. And I was walking through the house and I was like, what is that? They never saw it. No, it was a mouse up there and the droppings made this kind of dirt looking. Yeah, and they lived there for 40 years. Everything was pristine, I'm telling you. They never saw that. So that's the other thing. Sometimes it's nice to have someone else walk through your house and say, did you notice that? And they go, no. You know, I lived there forever, but I didn't even see it. So.
Is it true when you said you did the painting
Yeah.
that you should make it white or whatever, or different colors, whites?
Well, you want to neutralize, so there's like 100 whites, so believe it or not. In the house, the contemporary that I just sold yesterday, there's a lot of wood in this house, a lot of stone, so white is not appropriate. So, you know, it wasn't this color, but there was some in the family to enhance the look of the house and the stone and the wood. So, but you are definitely neutralizing it. If you were going through a builder home, everything is pretty much whites and grays, and it's neutralized for a reason. Builders know what they're doing. There's no pictures of really the family. There's no religious items. It's kind of generic. It's not lived in. I mean, lived in is you got dishes, you got your purse out, you got your coffee maker out, that's a lived in. When you sell your house, it's a marketing property and you're marketing it. So it's a different mindset that you're preparing for.
I have a question about no inspection.
Yes.
You mean that's specified by the seller?
By the buyer. The buyer has a right to do an inspection.
And they will say, I don't want the
They will-
cost of.
Yes. To be competitive today, this was not
Oh,
December.
I see. As a part of the offer.
Part of the offer. So
I see.
December, they were having inspections. January, they had inspections. Right now, no inspections generally. They will not win the offer. They're competing with 1 to 15, 20 offers. Somebody's gonna have a no inspection.
So it's hurry up. It's
For
like,
the agent and the buyer, it's a very hurry up. For example, again, I'll use, because it was just yesterday, the house had 15 showings on Thursday. Why? Because agents and buyers have now known, I gotta get in there on Thursday, because if they want it, I gotta write the offer and get it in by Friday. Forget the weekend. I had an open house scheduled for tomorrow evening, because I knew the activity and what's happening. So I had an early open house. Of course, as of last night, I canceled everything. Agents are not happy, but you know, it's the nature of the business. So it is a hurry up. Now, sometimes what a buyer may do is something called a walk and talk, which is they schedule a showing with their buyer's agent, and they'll take an inspector with them, and they'll do a 45-minute walk and talk. Typical inspections are 3 hours, could be more depending on the size of the house, with like a 50-page report to go with it. A walk and talk is 45 minutes, no report. And why do they do that? So that the buyer has confidence to put in an offer, no inspection. Okay? It is up to you as the seller to allow that. You can say yes or no. That's your decision.
Why don't you?
Why wouldn't you do it?
Yeah.
Well, typically, what the two agents say to each other, if you find something, you know, they have to tell you, because now you have to disclose it or fix it. A lot of time in the walk and talk, they're doing it for information only. The buyer's doing it for their own information. But who's to say that they don't end up saying, well, the reason I didn't buy this house is because of a roof or, you know, whatever, a leaky something, you know, so they make, and at that point, you are required to fix it or disclose it. So,
During what time they discover the leaky roof? After they made the offer?
no, this would be in a walk and talk. Yeah, if they decide to do a walk and talk, a buyer.
But the offer is after the walk and talk.
The offer is after the walk and talk, because they're putting in an offer now with no inspection, because they have confidence in the house.
But if they later on find out that the roof is leaky, can they come back to the
No.
seller saying, you
No.
did not tell me about this?
No, if they were not aware of it as a
Yeah.
seller, if you were
You can't
asked,
say that I don't know, it was leaking up.
right, you have to disclose and be honest with everything. You are aware. If there's a latent defect that you, if you're not aware of something, you know, that's, you know, you have to be honest. Yeah.
So do all real estate people give you all these different options, like, oh, you can do a walk and talk, or you can do blah, blah, blah? No, okay. Okay.
I mean, you
Okay,
know,
gotcha.
there are agents that really are buttoned up, and then there are agents that, you know, that might not have the knowledge and the experience. Yeah, good question. Okay, the Platinum Program, you have a brochure, my card's in the back. The Platinum Program is designed for older adults. There's a team of us Platinum agents, and we have, like I said, the vendors that will support you, whether you need repairs, renovation, even if you needed to set up an estate or whatever your needs are. We have vetted folks that our team has worked with for years that you can trust, and that's important because sometimes, you know, a friend might have told you about a plumber or, you know, an electrician, but, you know, we know because they've done a great job, house after house after house. So that's important as well. And you can see all the different, these are just some of, you know, the different renovations that we help with. Okay, updating and renovating. Next.
Oh,
Thank you.
sorry.
No, you're good. I think this was the question that you asked, and the reason we have a blank slide like this on purpose is the condition of your home is the foundation of your selling experience and has a tremendous impact on your bank account. That's up to you. You, as sellers, make all the decisions. You decide how you want your house to look. You decide how much you want to list your house for. You decide which buyer you want. It's all, I mean, that is a nice thing. It's all up to you. An agent's job is to tell you the pros and cons and give you recommendations. But it is up to you. But we know the facts of what the difference is, a house that has love and does what it's supposed to and doesn't.
How can you decide on the buyer? You
What?
can actually say, someone make an offer, say, I don't want to sell their house to them.
So,
You can't do that.
so there's a fair housing rule,
Mm.
okay? So we, you know, when we lay out, let's say there's 5 offers, we put it all on a spreadsheet for you and we give you all the selections. One buyer just wants this done. I'm sorry, one seller just wants this done. They see an offer that has no contingencies. There's no inspection, there's no appraisal, they're cash, so on, okay? Then another seller says, I need top dollar. I need this money for whatever their needs are. It has contingencies, but it's a lot higher price, okay? They may want that one. So it is the sellers, they are allowed to pick which offer fits their needs, if that makes sense.
So if you have some objections, do you let the buyer's agent know, or you just don't have to say anything, say, well, I prefer this offer?
Again, the seller gets to decide if,
But he doesn't have to give you any reasons.
no, it doesn't have to give reason. I mean, if there are 5 offers and they want to pick offer 3,
Yeah.
they can. The agent is explaining to them, you know, offer 3 has these pros and these cons type of thing, but the seller gets to decide. So, you know, when agents present their offers, they would like the courtesy of knowing either why they weren't selected, and we still can't disclose the details. No, but it will be public knowledge once it's sold. Once it's sold, you can see the price, you can see the details of the house. But while it's under contract, it is all confidential. Okay, so which would we play? This is just a fun little game. Would you purchase this house? And people do this. I'm not kidding you, people do this. Or this one. And you go, well, what's the difference? If you could go back one second.
Is the food included?
The food included, the bananas. So the windows, we've taken off the blinds because when you open up windows, it brings in the natural light, and it's really important. And then you'll see a different floor and a different countertop. Other than that, no change. If you could go back to that. Different countertop, windows are open, different floor, and we're done. That wasn't a big deal, and it looks like a brand new kitchen. Okay. All right, we talk about the curb appeal and flowers and the outside. We go with this house or with this, and not a lot was done. Go back. We take off the trash cans, we clear out the brush, we bring this down, and then we take the car out of the driveway. We just mulched. It was probably the winter, so there was not time for planting, and made it look nice and clean.
I'm gonna look back again, because I might take that one again.
Well, you know, I'm sitting on my hands with that.
I know, because I might take that one just because I like plants and I know they're there. That one's like sterile to me.
Yeah.
And
Every
so it's
buyer's different. That's right, every buyer's different.
Okay.
Okay, next is a typical bathroom. You know, this is what houses look like, a typical bathroom with the older vanity and the kind of almost cream yellow tops. Now let's look. Okay, so go back again real quick. The shower and the tub and the floors are all the same. Go to the next one. The only thing that was changed is a new vanity, 2 mirrors, 2 lights.
Okay.
And, I mean, you could get a vanity at Home Depot like that, in fact. So it makes a difference. We also have the lights on and everything's bright and, you know, it looks pretty, but there's nothing sitting out, of course. There's no soaps and shampoos and toothbrushes. I mean, we try to keep all that clear. Okay. This was a big renovation, of course. This is a very old kitchen, but we can change it and it can look like that. Same space, same floor space. We didn't, you know, knock walls down or anything, but we did change the kitchen quite a bit here and neutralized it. Okay?
So
Yeah,
Okay.
I noticed that some appliances are in black
yeah.
because I had to replace some of mine
Uh-huh.
and 2 are black and others are white. So is that going to be a problem or?
Yeah, it could be. Ideally, you want at least all the appliances to match. Most appealing is stainless, second would be the black, and third would be the white. But we do want them to match. That is really something someone is looking for
So
today.
let's say I have 2 black and I have a white refrigerator. Do I go out and buy a new refrigerator or?
Well, I'd have to see your kitchen, because if you have this incredible kitchen that just is just not in the way, we may say maybe not. We may say maybe not. Again, I don't, you know, that's the thing, is every house is different. I don't ever pretend to say change everything and spend a lot of money. That's not the goal. Yeah. Okay. All right. There's nothing wrong with this. This is pretty. It's got brown and purple and so on and so forth. But we need to neutralize. This is the time we neutralize, as we talked about. And so we did. You know, we have a fresh carpet, fresh coat of paint. It's not white. You know, everybody says, is everything white? This wasn't white. And it sold for top dollar with multiple
I'm
offers.
gonna go back just for a second to look again. Okay, gotcha.
Mhm.
So you painted the color
And changed the carpet.
and the
Mhm.
carpet,
Yeah.
gotcha. Next?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, staging and photography. Let's move to that. Okay, let's meet our stagers. We have 2 on the team. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Karen is one of our stagers, and then Julie is actually an interior designer. So, you know, they're interchangeable. We use them at different times. You know, when it's a really big job, a lot of times I might be using Julie, but really, they're both really, really good and very talented. Okay, so some people say, can I just move out first and then sell the house? And sometimes that is easier, you know, so you do that first, you move to wherever it is you're going, and then sell the house. Because a lot of the furniture that you take with you helps declutter the process, of course. So, if it's empty, if you go back, this house doesn't have furniture. And it's sometimes hard for the buyers to picture, is there room for a table in here to eat? Well, then what we do is we digitally stage. And digitally staging, you know, added the furniture, added a table, some staging items, and it's very, very eye appealing. And we do that on the MLS, so when they look at Zillow or any of the public sites, they're going to see it staged and see it empty. So we have both. So they can kind of go back and forth like we just did. The brochures that we do also have the digitally staging, typically on the brochures as well. And I can tell you when I'm in an open house, someone's carrying around the brochure and saying, oh, that's where the sofa can fit in the living room. It's sometimes hard. Some people are great. My husband's very good at picturing it. I sometimes go, is that going to fit? Okay. Same thing here. I mean, the house is empty. There's nothing wrong. It's neutral. It's ready to go. But we like to enhance it with digital staging again. And the digital staging, the photography, the brochures, all the regular staging, all of that is included when you work with the Wendy Slaughter Team. So understand that I'm telling you this is not like an a la carte. This is all part of what we do. Okay.
So how do you get the photo with nothing in it? It'll have to be after the people move out.
So if they have moved out, right, then we're gonna get the house ready. We're gonna do painting, renovation, or whatever is needed when they move out, and then we take the pictures.
Right.
Mhm.
if they're still living there, you can't have the empty picture.
Well, if they're
They're
still
supposed to have
living
their
there,
furniture and
right, if we're still living there, then we'll use your furniture to stage your house.
stuff.
And that's fine too, and we do that most of the time, yeah. So this is a photo taken by an agent, and you know, we say, well, why would they do that? Because they don't want to pay for a professional photographer. A phone picture is fine, but there's a very big difference between a phone picture and a professional. So you can see the difference. Same here, this was taken by an agent. This is taken, and a lot of it's the lighting that they bring in and the wide angle of the camera makes a difference. Okay, again, you can see the angles. This one is interesting, like a bit different. You see that kind of bump in the carpet? We have companies that can kind of stretch that carpet out if you have something like that. Okay.
Go to a shop.
All right, so now you've done decluttering and staging and photography. Your house has probably been incoming soon and you're ready to list. And then at that point, we have list day and showings that are in this market. Again, it's good to kind of plan a vacation and go away for the weekend because showings could be every 15 minutes, it could be every half an hour. So we can't really, tell you because they're coming in as the day is going on. So it's good to kind of go away and have your house sold when you come back. At times there's an open house. Sometimes there's not even a need for an open house because we already have so many showings and offers are coming in, and it's to a point you just don't need it. And then we review the offers with you. A lot of times if there's multiple, we're putting them on a spreadsheet. We're showing you all the different details of that offer because it can be complex. And then you're under contract at that point. When you're under contract, you are not sold. You are under contract. There is a time frame from under contract to sold. If it's a loan, it could be 20 to 30 days to complete the loan. That's pretty traditional. If it's cash offer, they could probably close in 5 to 10 days. So it's pretty quick if it's cash. If they're underwritten, the loan has already been underwritten by the buyer. The buyer put extra work in to kind of get it all the way to the finish line. It could be 10 days, 15 days if they're underwritten. So, but again, there could be contingencies. An appraiser might, be coming in. If it's a loan, there will be an appraiser that is hired by the bank to do an appraisal. So there's all these things along the way to get you to the settlement table. And when you're in settlement, then you're sold.
I'm sorry, I don't understand. Underwriter, what is that?
So when a buyer applies for a loan,
Yeah.
they have a pre-approval. They check they pull a soft credit. They're going to look at their jobs and their taxes and so on and so forth. They'll do a real light soft credit to see, and they have an approval. They have a pre-approval. Mr. Jones, Mrs. Jones, you have now the approval to buy this house with this amount of money. Okay, and so when an offer comes in, that pre-approval letter is in the package. If they have decided to be more competitive, they're going to say, I don't just want the pre-approval, I want you to actually put this through processing and underwriting and go through to the point of completing the loan, pretty much, right? So they're not doing a soft, they're pulling everything, all the data, all the documents to make sure they approve. And why would a buyer do that, as I advise my buyers, is because you're more competitive in this market, because it gives the confidence that sellers that they're ready to go. They're done. They've gone through it. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What about commission?
Commission, yes, good question. So commission is negotiable depending upon what that agent is going to be bringing to the table. Are they doing staging, photography, and all the resource for that? Commission is typically 3% for the buyer side and 3% for the seller side. For, 100 years, the sellers would pay the commission for the buyer and the seller side, okay? Now, the 3% is negotiable, meaning that on the buyer side, right now is about 2.5%. On the seller side, it's still in the 3 to 2.5% range, it's still there. So, do the sellers pay it? They don't have to. The sellers pay their listing agent, the commission, but they don't have to pay the buyer's commission, okay? Now, the challenge with that is that that was proposed and that's out there and that is your decision. That 2.5 on the buyer's agent side is a marketing number. It is just like marketing your house for photography, staging, brochures, and so on. If you, your house, you're the seller, and you don't offer the 2.5%, buyers will say, I'll see these 3 houses, but I'm not going to that one, because I don't have any more money to pay that 2.5%. So they will choose not to see your house. You don't want that to happen. You want volumes. I mean, sometimes you'll have 50 people see your house for 3 offers. So multiple offers is the name of the game, because as agents we can negotiate with these offers. So, you know, it's a hindrance to the seller if they don't offer the buyer's commission, but it is your choice. It is your
So
choice.
to state it in advance, everyone knows about this.
Yes.
The seller will not pay buyer's
Yes,
agent's commission.
that's correct.
Everyone understand that.
Everyone will know that. And how they will know that is, there was a NAR, National Association of Realtors, had a ruling that said in the multiple list system, we are no longer going to put what the buyer's agency commission is. Now, as buyer agents, that's very difficult. So how do you find out if you or the seller are paying? We have to call every single house and every single agent, and there's a document that they have to show that you're paying the buyer's commission. Yeah, so it is, again, it is all negotiable, and it's up to you. Any other? Yeah.
So we sold the house in 45 minutes.
We just might. We just might. Yeah. You asked great questions, though. I really appreciate it. Hopefully this is helpful. Your mind is probably like, oh my gosh, this is a lot. You had a question?
Yeah, with the buyer and the seller commission business, if the, well, how does the buyer or the buyer's agent get paid? I mean,
So the buyer's agent is only getting paid at that point by the buyer. So the buyer has to buy the house, and they have to pay the buyer's agent if the seller isn't offering it. And that's why probably 90% of the time right now, if you looked at data, sellers are still paying for that buyer's commission. Because sellers have, in respect, they have the appreciation in the house, and they have the affordability to pay to get that house sold.
So
Yeah.
that's how the agents, that's how the buyer agents
So
get paid,
it's-
that's their only money.
That's their only way to get paid.
Okay.
Right. So if they have a buyer and the buyer says, I don't want to pay, and they want to see a house and the seller isn't going to pay, the buyer can't represent, they can't work for free. So, yeah, yeah.
all right, so, I mean, as I remember it, in the old days, it was
Always that way.
yeah,
3% in the old days.
yeah,
Yeah.
and, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And that was the why National Association of Realtors said, in the old days, I wasn't a realtor at the time, they weren't explaining all of this to them. They weren't clear, and there was
All
confusion.
right, so there's no change from the old days.
It really isn't, other than clarity and discussion and dialogue, and that you have your right to do what you want as sellers in commission. Yeah,
Well, if you want to sell the house, I guess you gotta pay the commission.
true. Yeah.
Are there any other questions? This has been wonderful, I learned a lot, so.
Yeah.
And we'd like to give you a certificate from the Village of Howard.
Aw, thank you.
There you go.
Thank you. Will you take a picture?
Yeah,
I can post it
Yes, right.
on your,
Sure.
yeah.